Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me for this new episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about some tips and tools that you, in my opinion, need to use if you want your health to be great and if you also want your weight loss and fat loss go well and you can stay as healthy as possible throughout this process. So the reason why I want to talk about it is that a lot of times people are focusing on the things that they think matter the most, and they are the macros, they're the fiber, they are the workouts, the steps. All cool, great. I love it because if you're consistent with hitting your numbers, hitting your workouts, getting the work done, you are probably gonna get very far. And this is amazing. These are the main tools that I use in my coaching. I am setting people's macros. I am giving them the workouts. I will check their form via video check. I will do all that so that they can get great results. But also, many times I'm using other tools that may seem like, oh, this is like a little background thing, and I don't know how important that is. I guess I can let that go. And this is what I sometimes see with people. This is the approach they have, this attitude they have. Oh, she asked me to do that. It's not probably not as important. I'm not gonna, focus on that. It's okay if I don't get that one done as long as I get my macros item workout right. And I want to tell you that I'm really careful with people's health. I've been through enough myself, starting from my hormonal issues, which you probably know about if you've been a listener for a while, overtraining, undereating, causing some pretty bad damage, then dealing with terrible periods. I've seen this a lot. I've seen like terrible low energy, all that, and I don't want that to anybody. So I want to make sure that we have the tools in place that help you to get to your goals in a really healthy way. So there are a lot of tools that I use with a lot of my clients, and not everybody needs the same things. But if I see that this is appropriate for you, I'm going to recommend this to you. And I am actually expecting that you do these things and you take care of them as well as you're taking care of your macros and your workouts. But just like I said before, because it seems like, oh, that's another thing, it's kind of like whatever, I'm not going to stress about it if I don't do it, then your health is not going to be super good. And it also may slow down your weight loss and fat loss results. So, what are then some of the things that I'm talking about here? So, I'm going to give you some examples today. First thing is castor oil. So, a lot of times I have my clients use castor oil if I think that they could use some liver support, which is actually a lot of people. So, how do you know that you might need some liver support? Well, if you have symptoms like you're feeling like slow and sluggish all the time, if you have brain fog, if you have bad PMS symptoms, you have cramps, you have very uncomfortable periods, the bleeding can be very, very heavy, you're just feeling like crap with your periods. So, a lot of like hormonal issues. Then castor oil for your liver can be super helpful tool, and I have used it myself since April 2022, so that's way over a year now, and I've seen the benefits of it, and I recommend this to a lot of people. And they tell me that, yeah, I feel better. Actually, my digestion is better. I'm finally pooping once a day, even though I didn't before. And then their periods are getting better. But then it's like, but I forgot to do it. I didn't do it. And, I'm asking how many times, how many hours you did it last week. Oh, zero, nothing. And it seems like it's one of these things like, oh, I got to do this. I'll get to this maybe later. It's also so uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. It's kind of hot with it. And we just don't do it. And we're thinking that as long as I'm eating the macros, right? As long as I'm doing workouts, this doesn't matter. But let me tell you, it does matter because it really helps you. It can give your energy back. It can make your periods more normal. And of course, if your hormonal balance is better, your results are going to be better with your fat loss and weight loss as well. And I understand it's not always pleasant. It's not always easy to do it. So, for example, especially here, I live in Phoenix, it's hot. So when you put that castor oil pack on you, then you go to sleep with it, it gets freaking hot at night and it's not always pleasant. So I'll just find a way to still do it. So, for example, I'm literally wearing my castor oil pack right now, and I'm wearing an old t-shirt over it, right? I'm doing a podcast. I know I'm going to be in a video, but I'm still doing it because this is important for me because I know that this will help me. So don't let that be one of these things that you're just like, I'm going to do it later or next week or next week or next week. I don't care. And at the same time, you continue to feel bad. You're still having these symptoms. And that's because you haven't done, for example, this simple thing. And all you have to do with your castor oil is just, put like a tablespoon over your liver, and it's right under your right breast, pretty much under your rib cage there. And then just put the cloth over it, sit with it, even just do 1 hour a day. And that's all. And I get it. It's like it's something you have to do. It's a little bit of work. But if it helps you, why not? And I've literally had people tell me that they feel better after it and yet can't do it. So this is one of these things that I would like you to be more consistent with if this is something that I have recommended that you try out. Now, the next thing is adrenal cocktails. So I've talked about adrenal cocktails a lot on my Instagram. I've talked about a little bit on the podcast, definitely talked about in my Fit and Fuel Facebook group. And adrenal cocktail is basically a really simple drink that you put together from coconut water, which is where you get your potassium from. Potassium is one of the minerals that gets really heavily depleted when we have a lot of stress. And show me a person who doesn't have a lot of stress in our environment right now. Then you put in there some citrus fruit. So I prefer oranges. I've also used lemons and limes. And then you add a pinch of salt. And this is a drink that you can have. Of course, I already mentioned the benefits of potassium, but the vitamin C that you get from citrus fruit is really good for your immune system, adrenals, and salt, of course, for minerals. So if you can drink one of these a day, most people will benefit from it. So adrenal cocktails are something that I recommend to a lot of people. Most people, I want to take them. And like I said, 3 simple ingredients. You can also juice the orange if you want to. I just eat the orange and I just drink the coconut water. But then what happens a lot of times is that people are like, oh, I forgot to buy the ingredients, right? I forgot to buy the coconut water, or I just only bought like 1 can. And if it's something that you should be doing one day, then this 1 can is not going to get you very far. So why don't you just buy more at once? It's there, it's in your fridge. It's already, ready to go. Same thing with oranges or limes or lemons, whatever you want to use. It's already there and you can do it. And then you have less resistance or less reasons to not do it. And again, when I ask, did you do it? A lot of times like, no, I forget. Somebody else drank my coconut water, or I didn't buy it, or I ran out. And of course, sometimes you do run out and then you have a day when you don't have it. Not a big deal if it happens. But if it's consistently, we're talking about drink 1 adrenal cocktail a day, it's like week after week, it's like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, I have nothing, then you're holding yourself back. Literally, so many people are really depleted and they need this drink. It just would benefit their health in a big time, big time. They're just not doing it. So why are we not doing it? Because we're not prioritizing it. So if we can prioritize this the same way we prioritize our macros, we will be doing a lot better, right? Okay, so the next thing is pretty common. It's sleep, right? And I'll tell you that I have people that I've told them, you have to message me the next morning and tell me what time you put your phone down yesterday. Because some people they go to bed with their phone, they're scrolling. Phone is the last thing they see before they go to bed. It's the first thing they look at when they wake up in the morning. So literally that's how it goes. And this is not good for you. So I know, and I've shared about it many times, I've had a lot of sleep troubles myself too. So not everything is under control, but this thing definitely is under your control. So if you are spending a lot of time on screens at night, bringing the phone to bed with you and not putting it down until like 1 a.m., then this is a problem. And why aren't you doing this better? Like you have to have enough self-awareness and self-discipline to understand that your results may not directly depend on it, but indirectly they do. Because if you get poor sleep, you are more stressed out, your cortisol is going to be higher, you're going to have more blood sugar fluctuations, you're going to have less energy for your workouts. And if you read or watch like shitty news, that's going to do a number on your nervous system as well. So you have to have that discipline and not be on your phone. So put the phone down, get some sleep, because sleeping can be tough anyways, right? And why are we making it worse by this using so much of that screen time at night? So this is again something that we have to pay attention to. We cannot be like, oh, I've been hitting my macros doing my workouts, so I've been getting 5 hours sleep, I think I'm ready to go into calorie cut, and I'm over here telling you that you're not. No, I cannot let you to go into calorie cut if you haven't taken care of your sleep, if you're constantly getting really, really low sleep, even if on paper your workouts look great, your macros look great, but I know that you're not recovered because you're not sleeping because you can't put the phone down, then me personally, I can't let you to go into calorie cut because you're not in a healthy place. All right. Next thing is limiting your coffee and alcohol. So these two things, some people are very, very sensitive to them, and these are the people who have to pay more attention to it. So I'm not saying that you cannot have them, especially coffee. I think a lot of people do fine with it; they have no issues. Also with alcohol, a couple drinks a week may not be harmful. But if you know that you are a person who is more sensitive to that type of stuff, you have to have the discipline to stay away or really cut it down to bare, bare minimum. Because what I often see is like this ripple effect. Like I didn't sleep because I was on the phone too long and then I was stressed and I read the news. I don't know why I'm still reading the news. But I read the news and then I was tired and I got up early and had to do this. And then I drank coffee and it made me jittery, made me feel awful. In the evening, I couldn't wind down, so I had to drink some wine. You see the cycle, right? And so, if you know that you are sensitive to that type of stuff, if you see that with your lifestyle, you have caused yourself all these like stress responses, then you have to have enough awareness to cut that coffee out, or at least limit it, have it decaf, but don't have full on coffee if you know it doesn't work well. Some people, and that's myself included, when there's more stressful time, I just completely stop even decaf because I know that it's gonna make me too jittery, and I'm not gonna have it because I know that it's like a domino effect, right? One thing leads to another, and then I just feel really stressed out, and it starts impacting my sleep, and I don't want to get into this cycle. And I'm not telling you that this is easy to do, that it's easy to cut that cycle. It's not easy. It's like it's almost like you can't control it sometimes, but you have to pull yourself out of it, or contact your coach or whoever is there to support you and help you with this, because it's not good for you. If you're sensitive to caffeine, it makes you jittery. If alcohol makes you feel like crap the next day, you got to stay away. Okay. And one more thing that I want to mention is eating regular meals. So this is another thing where I see people kind of slacking sometimes, and they're like, "Yeah, my total calories came out all right, total macros came out right, but also how regularly did we eat?" So if we wait until 11 because we forget and we just sit there with a cup of coffee scrolling our phones, and then we wait until 11 or noon, and then we're like, "Oh shoot, I had to eat something." Well, then your whole day is going to be really difficult because now you have to play catch up all day to keep up with your protein, keep up with your calories, and you're not eating regularly. And what that causes is also some troubles with your adrenals because your adrenals are pumping out the cortisol that we don't want in excess, right? So your cortisol is high, your blood sugar starts to fluctuate, and we know that these are really something that can cause more belly fat gain, which is something that so many women are struggling with. Yet we are in the morning not eating because we forgot. So you can't forget that. So when you wake up, within 60 minutes, eat something, right? Start your day with even just a little bit of meal if you don't have a huge appetite at first. And you probably know that not having appetite is actually not a healthy thing. It means that you're running on not strength hormones, I wish, stress hormones, and that's why you don't have that appetite. So you have to even just make yourself eat a little bit in the first 60 minutes or so from waking. 30 minutes is totally fine too, but eat something and don't let those breaks between your meals to become like really long, and then you're sitting there thinking, why is nothing happening? Why am I still gaining weight in the midsection? Why I still get those cravings and blood sugar fluctuations and hormonal issues? Well, because your eating is not regular, because you're not prioritizing it, because you're like, let's say, spending too much time on the phone and scrolling the first 3 hours of the morning. So, or if you're working, then you go to work and you get busy like that, right? You put yourself in this high alert mode instantly and you forgot to eat. And this is a perfect example of running on stress hormones. So you have to eat regular meals. This is really a requirement. And just recently I did a video in my Fit and Fuel Facebook group talking about what is the ideal meal frequency for weight loss, fat loss. And while, yes, in theory, what matters the most is, are you in a calorie deficit? But actually, right, one thing is theory, and the other thing is what actually is happening. The other thing is that if you are not eating regular, you have these super long breaks or even fast intention, like 16 plus hours, then your hormones are not going to be in an optimal place and your fat loss is going to be so much harder. So I definitely recommend that you eat regular meals and teach yourself eat breakfast. If you're not doing it right now, teach yourself. You have to teach your body again, kind of wake those hunger hormones up again, and you see that things are going to get better. So these are things that I really want you to pay attention to. It's not only about macros, it's not only about calories, not even only about strength training, although you hear me talk about strength training in every single episode pretty much. But really it is that, like, what's happening underneath. How are we taking care of our health? How are we taking care of the foundations? Are we doing well with those? Are we consistent with, taking care of our adrenal health and liver health and sleep, all that? Because all this matters, right? All this matters. So I hope this was helpful. If you recognize yourself in some of these parts of the episode, um, this is a good thing. This is a good thing, because hopefully you will start paying more attention to those seemingly small, maybe sometimes like little annoying things, but you have to do them if you want to get good results. All right. Okay, so this is all I got for you today. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.